It is 1948 in Jamaica, and the island is in bad shape. It's still recovering from a hurricane a few years earlier, and Sam King remembers the economy being in a desperate state.
Things, again, were very bad because the coconuts were destroyed in 1944. It takes 5 to 6 years for the coconuts to rebuild. The whole structure of farming was undermined. I didn't see any future. Of course, my father was very glad I was there because I'm the eldest son. And like him, eventually I would take over the farm to pick pimento and to plant banana and all that. But I had no intention of planting bananas.
Back then, Sam was just 22 years old, but he'd already seen the outside world. He'd volunteered during World War II and served in the Royal Air Force in Britain. With the coming of peace, he'd returned to the hills of eastern Jamaica, but he knew he wouldn't stay. And within months, he spotted a chance to get away.
It was in the Daily Jamaican newspaper that this troop ship would call to Jamaica in about 2 weeks' time, and the passage was £28 10 shillings. Let's get that straight. The average man didn't have £28 10 shillings. It was equivalent to about 3 cows.
So you're sitting reading the newspaper, and what goes through your mind?
I'm going back to England.
Eventually, nearly 500 passengers boarded the ship, bound for England and a new life. They would turn out to be pioneers. Their journey marked the start of a new wave of migration. In the decade to come, 250,000 West Indians would follow in the wake of the Windrush. Sam remembers the mood that evening when she slipped slowly out of Kingston Harbour.
People were waving, things were happening on the docks. Now, for about half of us, we had no intention of coming back to a colony. We were looking forward. We were looking towards a new hope. But there were some men in their 40s who had a wife and children. They were looking back at yard. They were waving, they were that. But we, chiefly the young ones, were not looking back. We were looking forward.
Several stowaways had managed to smuggle themselves on board. One was a woman, and out of kindness, Sam and some of the other passengers clubbed together and paid to buy her a ticket, enabling her to make the voyage legally. But conditions on the troop ship in those first years after the war were far from luxurious.
Sad to say, you have mashed potato in tins from New Zealand 2 years. They put it on the table, mix it up with water. Now, if you didn't heat it then, in the evening they mix it with cabbage. And if you didn't eat it then, in the morning they fried it and called it bubble and squeak. You have to eat it sometime, but food was rationed in Britain. Men were playing dominoes and things, but we had the decks were chiefly blankets and a few bunks, but the women were in cabins. So we just mill around. And in the evenings, they have boxing competition and things like that, and dance and all things. But the main thing is, it was to mentally get yourself ready to land.
And the other young guys who, unlike you, hadn't seen Britain before, were they asking lots of questions?
Time and again, they would come, Sam, what will happen? Will I have a job? They were more concerned about job. I said, settle down. In the evening, after supper, about 6:30, I would go in the lower deck and I would have 8, 10 of them. I said, look, food is rationed in England. You can't grasp that. There's hardly anywhere to live because the bad Germans destroyed Britain. So to get accommodation, but work is all over the place. So work is not the problem. It's somewhere to live and food to eat.
This was back in a time when West Indians still regarded Britain as a kind of motherland. It was the seat of a great empire of which they were a part. And for those arriving for the first time, battered and exhausted post-war Britain would prove a severe disappointment. But a newsreel of the day struck an upbeat tone when the Windrush finally docked just outside London.
Arrivals at Tilbury. The Empire Windrush brings to Britain 500 Jamaicans. Many are ex-servicemen who know England. They served this country well. In Jamaica, they couldn't find work. Discouraged but full of hope, they sailed for Britain. Citizens of the British Empire coming to the mother country with good intent. Prodded by public...
However, some in the mother country weren't so welcoming. As the Windrush was steaming across the Atlantic, there were members of Parliament in London who had voiced disquiet about the start of this influx of migrants.
Our reporter asks them what they want to do.
Now, why have you come to England? To seek a job. And what sort of job do you want? Any type, so long as I get a good pay.
Some plan to return to Jamaica when conditions improve.
I'd like to ask you, please, are you a single man?
I am a single man. Only my mother that is depending on me. And I'm trying to help myself and also help my mom.
Their spokesman sings his thanks to Britain.
Now, may I ask you your name?
Lord Kitchener.
Lord Kitchener. Now, I'm told that you are really the king of calypso singers. Is that right?
Yes, that's
well, now, will you
true.
sing for us?
Right now. Yes. London is the place for me. London, this lovely city. You can go to France or America, India, Asia, or Australia, but you must come back to London City.
And Britain did provide these new arrivals with plenty of work. There was much to rebuild in the aftermath of the war. But the coming of the Windrush began by far the biggest wave of non-white immigration the country had ever seen. And as the numbers of migrants grew, tensions rose. Many West Indians would endure shocking levels of racism.
Once more of our people start coming, and food still ration, the unions blame the blacks for everything. Rubbish. And in the end, you have signs, keep Britain white, blacks go home and all that. But all we did was to carry on and did our jobs.
How would that play out in the street, in life, that kind of prejudice?
In many cases, we couldn't go out one at night. We had to go out in twos. But an average Jamaican would have to have about 3 men tackling him for him to run away. But we came here to stay. And in the long run, it's a success story.
In the years after he disembarked from the Windrush, Sam watched his people put down new roots in Britain. Today, more than 6 decades on, racism is by no means a thing of the past, and the community has faced enduring economic disadvantages. But the children of those early migrants have become a fully integrated, permanent part of the fabric of British society, contributing in every area of life. Sam King himself went into politics and eventually became the mayor of the London borough of Southwark.
London, this lovely city. You can go to France or America, India, Asia, or Australia, but you must come back to London City. Well, believe me, I am speaking...